Gentlemen, welcome back to the series on overcoming addiction. Today is part 3 and we're talking about quitting and handling withdrawal. Now so far we've looked at deciding to quit, and then we discussed in the last video how to make a plan to quit your addiction. Now today we get to the hard part of overcoming the addictions that we have, which is going through the addiction itself. But if you follow the next few steps, it will be much easier and you'll cope much better with all of the obstacles that you will face. And trust me, you'll face a lot of them. So let's say we've made a plan and we've decided on a particular day or particular time that we're going to quit. Now, the first crucial step is to actually stop on that particular day. So when the day arrives, the big day, you must keep the promise that you made to yourself and quit and do it. Now, I'm not going to say that it's easy, because those first few days are going to be really hard. And you're going to face a lot of demons, and you will really find out what you're made of. But stay positive and keep yourself busy. Get living during this time. You don't want to be too idle. You want to have your day filled with as much activity as you possibly can. That way you'll move towards achieving an addiction-free life, which is what we all want. Just on that last point, I talked about getting busy. Let's take that a step further. What we want to do is fill our time with as much activity as possible. You really need distractions at this point. Now, I'm not saying just do anything. Obviously, you want to do things that are healthy for you, that are providing benefit for you, not things that are breaking you down, so to speak. So, for example, that could be starting an exercise routine, taking up a new hobby, hanging out with friends even. Just anything to get you away from that environment that is conducive to addiction. So other activities you could do, you could join a club, you could join your sports team, or even a community group. A community group would be a very good idea. So all you have to do is go up to Meetup, find community groups in your area and join them. So not only will you make new friends, but you'll learn new skills, which is always a positive thing. Now, if you decide to do exercise, which I highly recommend, you're going to release endorphins into your system, feel good hormones into your system, which will help you stay positive and help you stay on track. Now, while we're going through our addictions, it's important to keep clear of anything that triggers your addictions. We covered triggers in the last video as well, but that was more identifying your triggers, knowing exactly what it is that sets off your addiction. But in this case, what we want to do is avoid them. Once we have identified them, you want to get as far away from them as you possibly can. So you stay away from people, places, things that might make you want to go back to your old habits. Now, you might need to create a new lifestyle or routine to do that. But if you're serious about addiction, about overcoming addiction, then you'll do just that. During this time when you're going through your quitting process, there'll be a temptation to give in to rationalizations. And the key is not to give in to them. Now, withdrawal, the pain of withdrawal is quite real, depending on what type of addiction we have. And you may drift into thought patterns that allow you to take up the habit again. And the key is to not let that voice get too strong. So you might think something along the lines of, wow, it's a free country. We all have to die sometime. You know, life is just too short. Let's just do it once and see what happens. But you want to resist that, because that's very much a defeatist attitude. The last thing we need is to be revisiting the patterns and the behaviors that led to that addiction in the first place. So if it becomes too much for you, you might want to consider visiting or getting in touch with support groups or therapists, health professionals that can help you deal with those particular patterns of behavior. Now, with that in mind, it's possible that you may relapse during your withdrawal phase, your quitting phase, and it happens. But the trick is not to let yourself down so much about that. Don't beat yourself up about that. It happens. You know, overcoming addiction is very difficult. So don't beat yourself up about it if you have a lapse in judgment. If you have a slip up, okay. It's okay. You know, get back on the horse and keep riding. Relapses shouldn't be seen as a failure, but more as a part of the process. You know, it takes time to overcome addiction, and mistakes happen. Just accept it. But don't let the guilt and the shame take over. You're doing your best. Keep at it. That's very important to remember. And the last point I'll make before wrapping this up is this. Celebrate your wins. Because your wins are important. It means that you're doing something right. You're on the right track. You're moving away from that pattern of destruction. So, whenever you do reach a goal or a milestone, celebrate it. And be happy that you've achieved that. Knowing that you did it. You did the work. You might have had all the help in the world, sure. But you did the work. And that's very important. So, gentlemen, that wraps up the series on overcoming addiction. I hope you got something out of this. And I hope that you are now taking steps, if you are in the middle of addiction, towards overcoming it. As always, if you need any more help, you require any further work on breaking an addiction, then please feel free to get in touch with me. And if you would like to work one-on-one with me in helping you to not only overcome your addiction, but become the best possible version of yourself, the best man you can possibly be, then please feel free to go down to my coaching page and sign up for my Mentor program. I'll be more than happy to help you become man-credible. So, gentlemen, as always, get out there, get amongst it, and become the best version of yourself.